All right, welcome to this explainer on navigating the event planning process for Yale College registered student organizations. Look, if you're an event planner, president, or officer of an RSO, you already know that events are the absolute lifeblood of your community, right? I mean, they're how you share your mission, build connections, and really make an impact on campus. But to do all that effectively, you absolutely need a solid framework to get it done. So, what's the actual secret to a memorable campus event? You might be thinking it's a massive budget, kind of flashy marketing, or, I don't know, booking the absolute perfect venue. But honestly, the real secret to a safe and successful event is just a solid, university compliant plan. It's like knowing exactly where the guardrails are before you start driving. Careful planning is literally what ensures your big idea comes to life without a single hitch.
Today, we're going to cover 5 main things: the event planning blueprint, navigating key campus policies, identifying your event type, the approval workflow, and finally, mastering Yale Connect.
Let's dive right into Section 1, the event planning blueprint. Okay, so here's the absolute most crucial point, the golden rule, if you will. Any organized activity where you're representing your group as an RSO near the university, it must be officially registered and approved in Yale Connect. No exceptions. We highly recommend you do this as early as humanly possible. Why? Because you need that cushion for proper approvals, booking spaces, and, well, pivoting if the unexpected happens. As the host, you're taking on full responsibility for the whole shebang, from the space rental right down to attendee conduct. Moving on to Section 2, navigating key campus policies. Now, when it comes to serving alcohol at your event, the magic number is, you guessed it, 21. That's the legal drinking age in Connecticut, plain and simple. But it actually goes way beyond just checking IDs at the door. All alcoholic beverages must be dispensed by a licensed bartender. Plus, you are strictly required to provide non-alcoholic drink options. Oh, and food? Yeah, you absolutely have to provide food anytime alcohol is being served. For sure, non-negotiable. Across different event categories, these safety guidelines get super specific. Take food safety, for example. You've got to stick to strict temperatures. Hot foods need to stay above 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and cold foods must be kept below 40 degrees. If you're hosting an event involving minors, that requires a mandatory 30-day advance registration with Yale programs for children and youth, plus specific safety trainings. Also, if your RSO is doing any sort of political campaigning, there are absolute restrictions against using university funds for that. And for non-monetary solicitation, like gathering petition signatures, you're restricted to specific approved plazas, like the Schwartzman Rotunda or cross campus. Never, ever assume a campus space just doesn't require approval. Actually, scratch that. Every single outdoor and indoor space is managed by a specific Yale entity. It's like a giant puzzle. For instance, residential college spaces, those need a green light from the heads of college. If you're eyeing Cross Campus or Bainick Plaza, that falls to the vice president for university life. And other Yale College outdoor spaces are governed by the deans. You really have to get advanced, proper approval from the specific individual or office that manages your desired space. Up next is Section 3. Identifying your event type. So let's talk scale. If your event budget crosses that heavy $10,000 threshold, which is a pretty big deal, or if you expect over 200 non-Yale attendees, your gathering is automatically classified as a major event. This category also kicks in if your event spans multiple days, uses multiple venues, or hosts overnight guests. These are complex undertakings, guys. They require 2 lead undergraduate coordinators, a staff or faculty advisor, and regular check-ins with a graduate assistant. Because of all those moving parts, this timeline is your absolute lifeline. Standard events, like regular weekly meetings or rehearsals, those just need 2 to 3 days notice. But watch how quickly this scales up. Performance and travel events need a minimum 2-week lead time. Large standard conferences that don't quite hit that major criteria, they still need 6 weeks. And those major events we just talked about, no way around it. They demand a massive 3-month lead time for a formal proposal.
All right, Section 4, the approval workflow.
So you might be wondering, why do we need all that lead time for larger events? And what actually happens after you hit submit? Well, your submission in Yale Connect kicks off this whole automated journey. First, the Yale College Dean's Office, or the YCDO Student Orgs team, reviews your submission just to make sure it's completely filled out. They're basically checking that the event type makes sense and that you actually listed a location. Then the system automatically routes your event to a whole matrix of specialized university offices for a risk assessment. Your event only gets that final stamp of approval after those offices review and clear it. The really crucial takeaway here is that these offices are not hurdles. They're your safety partners. Depending on the details you entered, risk management might review the overall risk level. Fire code compliance will pop in to verify you aren't exceeding room capacity or, to make sure you're safely managing open flames. Environmental health and safety steps in if hazardous materials are involved. And the Office of University Life handles events that feature controversial or high-profile speakers. They are all working tirelessly behind the scenes to make sure your event goes off safely.
Finally, we've reached Section 5, Mastering Yale Connect.
Yale Connect is your single point of entry for all event registrations. Let's make this super easy. Your very first step, just log into the platform, head over to your homepage, and simply click on Groups up at the top of the page to find your specific organization's portal. Easy enough, right? Once you're inside your organization's portal dashboard, you're going to look for the Events tab. Clicking on that takes you straight to your Events page, where you just hit that Create Event button to kick off the intake form. So here's how the actual form goes down. First, you tackle Part 1. That's the basic what, when, and where details that your guests will actually see. During this step, you can use the built-in tool to book Yale College classrooms directly, or you can just manually enter an other location if your space is already locked in elsewhere. Once that's done, you click Create Event again. Now, pay super close attention here. This redirects you to Part 2, which is the secondary RSO event registration form. This part takes about 5 to 15 minutes, and you absolutely must hit Submit at the end. If you don't, your request just sits there in draft mode forever, and your event is technically not registered. Don't let that happen. All right, let's quickly recap our roadmap from today. First and foremost, you've got to register every single RSO event via Yale Connect. Second, adhere strictly to all those safety guardrails we talked about, from food temperatures all the way to space approvals. Third, identify your event's scale early on so you can actually hit your deadlines. Remember, standard events need 2 to 3 days, but major events demand 3 full months of lead time. It's a lot to remember, but you've totally got this. Now that you have the complete procedural toolkit to navigate the compliance process with total confidence, well, the rest is up to you. Careful planning is just the foundation, right? So what amazing mission-driven experience is your RSO going to build for the campus community next? Use these tools, start early, and get out there and make it an event to remember.